What's up, everybody? Here we are. We're back with the NBA Draftkings slate. January 25th, we're going to go live here and just talk about some plays, answer any questions any of you guys have for today's slate. Um, we have a lot to get into. There's Big Ten games, some injuries, but not too many injuries that we have to get into, although there is some news that we still have to figure out. There's some news on right now, but that's all for tomorrow with the Hawks, so great fantasy labs. Um, we'll start out with Philadelphia. Before I do that, I'm pretty sure all of you already subscribe here. But if you don't, hit that subscribe and hit that like on this video. It really helps me out. We're gonna going with the Philadelphia 76ers versus the Detroit Pistons tonight. This game has an implied total of 216.5, one of the lower total games on the slate. Honestly, it's not a game I'm really too interested in. Joel Embiid is questionable, though. That's kind of the big thing with this game. If Joel Embiid is to miss, Dwight Howard's probably going to start, and then he becomes one of the best values on the entire slate. And that's going to give a ton of usage to Tobias Harris and Ben Simmons. So just look for that one. Look out if Joel Embiid is going to be out or not. This is one of the first games, so we are going to know before lock. Actually, this is the first game of the night, so we are going to know before lock if Embiid is playing. So be paying attention to that. Hopefully that'll come soon. Honestly, hopefully that comes while we're on the stream. That would be nice. That would help us out a ton, but we will see. Steph Curry's someone I'm a little bit interested in. He's $5,100. I gave him 28 minutes today. He's got a usage percentage of 17 and assist percentage of 18. We know what he does. He's a three-point shooter. If he can knock down some threes, that's going to be a pretty good value. And then Wayne Ellington also looks like a pretty decent value at $4,200. I have him projected for 28 minutes today. He has a usage rate of 17.8, an assist rate of 5.4, which isn't great, but he's just a three-point shooter. $4,200. He's going to play a lot of minutes. If he knocks down some threes, and he's been making threes at a great rate this year, then he's going to be a great play. And then Daylon Wright. Oh yeah, there's no Derrick Rose either for Detroit. So Derrick Rose is also out, and in the last game we saw Daylon Wright get 36 minutes. I don't know if he's going to get 36 again, but he should play a lot of minutes, and at $5,500, assuming he starts and plays over 30 minutes, it's going to be a really good play. So he's definitely someone I have some interest in. Wouldn't call him like a top play on this slate, but definitely is someone to have a little bit of interest in. I gave him 36 minutes. He has a usage rate of 13.6, an assist rate of 22.6, and a rebound rate of 7.8. The next game we're going to talk about is the Toronto Raptors versus the Indiana Pacers. I'm really not that interested in anything from Indiana on the side, but definitely definitely Toronto has some interest. This game has a total of 217. The Raptors have an implied total of 107.8. This game is a pretty decently paced game at 104.25 pace. And there's some more injuries with this game. So with this game, we have for injuries we have Pascal Siakam and Kyle Lowry are both questionable. I don't think they're going to play. Personally, I projected them out today because we had yesterday the Raptors also played against the Pacers too, and Kyle Lowry has like a toe infection, so I don't think he's coming back tonight or anytime soon, to be honest. And Pascal Siakam has like some bruising on his thigh or his knee, one of those two, and I just don't. If he didn't play last night, I don't think he's going to play tonight. So we will wait for that news if that's even out. It is not out yet, so that's if those two are to miss. OG Anunoby is a great play. He's $6,900. I gave him 38 minutes. He has a usage rate of 15.6, but that goes up to 23.1 with Siakam and Lowry off the floor. He's going to have an absurd usage tonight for OG Anunoby. It's not crazy usage overall, but for a guy at $6,900 and his skill set and his talent, OG Anunoby becomes a very good play. Stanley Johnson. If both Lowry and Siakam miss, Stanley Johnson will get the start. He's only $3,800 and he played 31 minutes yesterday, and that's just a great value at $3,800. Going to play that amount of minutes. And then Norman Powell, if only one of them misses, will be the one who starts. He'll start if both of them miss too, but he will be in the starting lineup before Stanley Johnson is most likely. I mean, they could change, but usually that's what happens with Toronto. He's $5,200 and I gave him 37 minutes, and he's always got a pretty good usage when he's out there, 22% usage rate. So whenever someone on Toronto's out and Powell starts, he's usually someone I'd like to get a lot of exposure to. He's just a high upside player, does a lot when he's on the floor, tries to score a ball a lot, so he's always someone I do like to get exposure to. And then Fred VanVleet is also going to be someone that I like in this position. He's $7,900. I gave him 38 minutes. He has a usage rate of 23.1 and an assist rate of 28.1, and that is going to go up without Lowry and Pascal Siakam on the floor. Next game we're going to talk about is the Charlotte Hornets versus the Orlando Magic. This game is the lowest total game on the slate, or tied for the lowest total game on the slate. Not a game I'm really all that interested to get to. It only has a implied total of 212.5, so it's not going to be a ton of scoring. It's also going to be the slowest pace, or second slowest pace game on the slate at 102.65. So overall, this is not a game I'm really all that too interested to get to. Um, but there are two guys on the Hornets I am interested in, those being Gordon Hayward and Terry Rozier. Gordon Hayward, $7,300. I gave him 38 minutes. He has a usage rate of 24.9, an assist rate 18.5, and a rebound rate of 7.7. That does look pretty good. The salary for the amount of minutes he's going to play looks pretty good. Same thing with Terry Rozier. These are just guys to plug into tournament lineups who have upside, but if you're playing cash lineup or just a few lineups, I probably wouldn't get any of them, but both of them look fine. Rozier, 6,800. I gave him 38 minutes. He has a usage rate 23.2. And then Nikola Vucevic, he's in a good matchup. Charlotte against centers is pretty bad. They're not really a good defensive team against the bigs, so that's definitely a spot I want to attack with Vucevic. I'll probably be getting him for sure in some lineups, $8,700. Still wouldn't call him a core play, but he does look like a pretty good value. A usage rate 26.8, assist rate 21.1, and a rebound rate 18.1. He's having a great year. He just looks like a pretty solid overall play. So that's definitely something I'm going to be interested in. Now we got the game of the night, definitely the game to target, and I think the game that everyone is going to target, the Miami Heat versus the Brooklyn Nets. We have some pretty big interest in here, and actually now that I'm looking at it, I did not even put Bam Adebayo on the sheet, but you know what, watch. We can type in Bam Adebayo right here, and everything that we need is going to come up. Oops. There you go. All right. We'll start with Goran Dragic. He's $6,200. I gave him 31 minutes. He has a usage rate of 26.9 and an assist rate of 35.2. And without Jimmy Butler and Tyler Hero, which the Miami Heat continue to be without, he's going to get a big usage bump. He has about a usage of 30% and an assist percentage of about 37%. He's way too cheap. Brooklyn has been the team to target all year long. They cannot guard anybody, so we're going to continue to go target teams against Brooklyn. And the total shows that it's the highest total game on the slate by a good bit. I don't even think anyone's in the 230s. Yeah, that's the highest total game by a lot today. So this is the game to target. Goran Dragic, he's going to be one of the most popular plays today, but that's fine. I don't hate getting to him at all. Looks like a pretty solid option to me. Then Duncan Robinson is at 6,200, looks solid too. I gave him 38 minutes. Usage rate 16.6, assist percentage 7.5. Now I will say I would 100% rather play Goran Dragic for the same price and almost the same position. They're both guards, so I would 100% rather play Dragic, but Robinson will be lower owned. But the upside does feel higher for Dragic. He has a higher usage, higher assist rate, and then pretty much everything over Duncan Robinson. Although I will say Robinson probably plays more minutes, but the minutes won't be as useful. So, but both of them do look fine. Duncan Robinson more of a tournament only play, but Dragic I'd go for in cash for sure today. Then Kendrick Nunn also looks really good. He's been playing a ton of minutes off the bench so far this year. Or off the bench without Tyler Hero and Avery Bradley and Jimmy Butler on the floor because Avery Bradley's also out. So Kendrick Nunn's been playing in the 30s every single game. The price has finally come up to reflect that, $6,100, but I still don't hate going to him. He has a usage rate of 22.1 and assist rate of 16.7, which goes up to a 24.1 usage rate without all these guys on the floor. So that is going to be something I'm definitely interested in for sure. Bam Adebayo, the last guy in the Miami Heat that I will be interested in. He's $8,500. I gave him 38 minutes. He has a usage rate of 24.2, an assist rate of 27.2, and a rebound rate of 16.4. That's going to grade out pretty well against Brooklyn, who, again, can't guard anybody, and this is a good spot against bigs. Brooklyn's bad against bigs as well. So Bam Adebayo is going to look fantastic. Let me type back Harden, because I do like James Harden today. So James Harden for the Brooklyn Nets on the other side of this game is definitely going to be someone that I like. He is $10,200. I gave him 38 minutes. He's got a usage rate of 35.4 and assist rate of 50.9 so far with this Brooklyn team. He's been playing great. He's expensive. You're going to have to pay up to get to him, but there is value on the slate that I do not hate at all. So James Harden, I think he's fine. I love playing the guy. He's in a really high total game. It's going to be a fast-paced game, too. I didn't even mention that. 105.45 pace game. Not the fastest, but it's up there. And he's just got the upside. And there's ways to get to him today. Same thing with Kevin Durant. Both look great. Usage rate of 32.4 for KD, 37 minutes. Both of them look fantastic. Joe Harris looks like a good value. He's been playing a ton of minutes. Gave him 37 today. He's $5,800. We know he brings to the table. He's a shooter, but honestly, the same player as Duncan Robinson. They're really similar players, but Joe Harris is a little bit cheaper, so I do think he is a good spot to target today. Wouldn't call him, an elite option or a top-tier option or anything, but definitely someone in the mid-range to get some tournament lines if you want to get there because he does have a pretty good ceiling if he starts knocking down his three-pointers. And then Kyrie Irving, of course, we're going to be interested in because he's Kyrie freaking Irving, and he's only $9,000. He still has a usage rate of 30.6 this year and assist rate of 32. I'm giving him 36 minutes. The upside is really high. 9,000 is too cheap, in my opinion, for Kyrie, so Kyrie's someone I definitely like today. I'm definitely going to get a good bit of him. The next game we're going to talk about is the Lakers and the Cavs, and to be honest, this is one game that just feels completely gross to me that I just don't want any part of it. Totals at 212.5. The Cavs are playing against the Lakers team that's just elite defensively. You don't really want to ever play. I don't like to play people against the Lakers because they play so slow too. I mean, the game is a pace of 102.3, slowest pace game on the day, so that's not good. And then like LeBron and Anthony Davis against teams that aren't like the Bucks or the Nets, just a really good team. They're not playing a ton of minutes. Like they're just playing like in lower 30s, sometimes not even 30s. They blow them out. So I'm not really interested in going there. So this is not a game I'm interested in, but I would say KCP is the one guy maybe. He's only $3,800, and we've seen him in games get over 30 minutes if the game stays close. And if he does that and his hitting his threes is going to be great value. So he is definitely someone I do have a little bit of interest in. Let me look and see if we've got any news. So far, we do not have any news. Great. That's great. It's all going to come with like 10 minutes before lock. I just know it. The next game is going to be the Dallas Mavericks versus the Denver Nuggets. This is another game I really like. This game has an implied total of 223. The pace is okay at 102.9, not great, but it is going to be a high-scoring game regardless. Gary Harris is going to be the first guy I'm interested in on the Denver Nuggets. He's $3,900. I gave him 32 minutes. He has a usage rate of 14.9, which is not fantastic, but again, he's going to play a ton of minutes, and he's a three-point shooter, so if he's hitting his threes, he's going to be a good value. If not, he's going to get you 2 points, so, he's a tournament play only, but he is cheap, and he does fit in lineups, and he does help you get to guys like Harden and Durant. Nikola Jokic on the same team at $10,800. I gave him 37 minutes. He has a usage percentage of 28.2, assist percentage of 46.6, and a rebound rate of 18.7 this year. Just ridiculous numbers we're getting from Nikola Jokic this year. He's looked really good, and Dallas doesn't really have any bigs that are good defensively right now. Like Porzingis is there, but Porzingis is tall, but we know Porzingis can't really defend Jokic. Jokic is just a freaking monster. And I don't really want to trust Willie Cauley-Stein either, so I think Nikola Jokic is in a really good spot. He's definitely someone that I want to get exposure to today and someone I want to have in lineups. Monty Morris is $4,400. He's been playing a lot of minutes off the bench for them, getting a lot of just playing at the 2 alongside Jamal Murray. I gave him 32 minutes, usage rate of 15.9, assist rate of 17.4. Would not say those minutes are guaranteed, though, because he is still a bench player, so he's only a tournament play. But the upside is certainly there at $4,400 and someone I am interested in. Jamal Murray is $7,100. I gave him 38 minutes today. He has a usage rate of 23.9 and an assist rate of 16.9. And Jamal Murray is just great, man. He's just a great player. At $7,100 against a Dallas team that's really not good defensively, I do like that a good bit, and it's something that I want to target. And then we got Michael Porter Jr. At $6,600. I gave him 30 minutes today. He has a usage rate of 21.4, assist rate is 9.5, and a rebound rate of 13.2. That's going to be a really good spot that I want to target as well. He's coming back off the COVID list. The first game back, he only played like 20 minutes, but last time he played 35 minutes and closed the game in overtime. So I gave him 30 today, and I think he's going to start seeing the minutes. He may even get back in the starting lineup today. We will see about that. I'm not 100% sure if that's going to happen, but we will see what happens. So I think Michael Porter does look good at 6,600 because when he's at his peak, playing at his peak, he's going to be like in the 7K range. So he's still a little bit cheap, and I want to get to him before his price really jumps back up. On the Dallas Mavericks side, once again, I didn't write Luka. It's 2 big-time players I just did not write down on this. I don't know why, but Luka Doncic is Luka Doncic, and Denver cannot guard anybody this year, so play Luka Doncic. He's been great. I don't have a problem with that. But Jalen Brunson looks like a really good value. He's $4,700. I gave him 31 minutes. He's got a usage rate of 24.7, an assist rate of 27.9, and a rebound rate of 6.5. That's going to look really good at $4,700 against the Denver Nuggets, who are not really good defensively at all. So Jalen Brunson's going to look pretty solid. Tim Hardaway Jr. is another player who's going to look pretty good at $5,600. I gave him 38 minutes. He's got a usage rate of 23.1 and an assist rate of 10.8. He's just too cheap for the amount of minutes he's playing on his team. I just don't get his. I do get his price range. The dude's been shooting for crap recently, has not been able to hit a shot, but he does play a ton of minutes, and if he starts knocking down his threes, he's going to be a great value. So he's definitely someone I want in tournaments, and definitely someone I'm going to get in tournament lineups today. So he is definitely going to be in play in my player pool for today. The next game we're going to talk about is the Chicago Bulls versus the Boston Celtics, where we have a pretty nice total, actually. This game has a total of 228. the Celtics are 4-point favorites here, and the Celtics do get Jason Tatum back, but they do not have Kemba Walker today, so that is one thing to note for the Boston Celtics. The Chicago Bulls are without Wendell Carter. And without Wendell Carter, you are going to see Daniel Gafford start, but Daniel Gafford starting doesn't mean crap. He gets like 18 minutes, so I don't even care. I don't want him. And then Thaddeus Young picks up some more minutes off the bench. But Wendell Carter going out affects the usage of these three guys a lot. Zach LaVine, Lauri Markkanen, and Patrick Williams are all benefiting like 3 to 4% more usage rate than we're used to seeing. And it's definitely solidified Patrick Williams' minutes more. And we've seen him, kind of be in and out around 30 to 20 minutes. Now we're seeing him get 30 plus in 2 games without Wendell Carter, so that's really good to see. So he's someone I definitely like today. For value at $4,900, I give him 31 minutes. He has a usage rate of 15.7, which goes up to about 20 when Wendell Carter's off the floor. So this is someone I definitely like a lot today. Someone who I think is going to go a little bit under the radar, but looks like a really good play. And then LaVine and Markkanen look good too. LaVine's getting more usage, and he's $8,600. He's going to play a ton of minutes. He already has a high usage rate, 29.7, and a high assist rate, 24.3. So he's just going to look even better today without Wendell Carter. And then Lauri Markkanen, the same. He's going to play a lot of center in this game, and he's $6,500. I give him 36 minutes. He gets about like a 27% usage rate without Wendell Carter on the floor, so that's going to grade out really well for him as well against the Boston team, who is not great defensively against bigs. On the Boston Celtics side, Jaylen Brown's going to be the first guy we're going to talk about. He is $8,500. I gave him 38 minutes today. He has a usage rate of 29.5 and an assist rate of 20.1 with a rebound rate of 9.5. I don't think I mentioned this game also is really good because of the pace. It's a pace of 105.8, which is going to be one of the best pace games on the entire slate. Oh, God, I got to answer that text in a little bit. Marcus Smart is $6,400. He's someone I'm also going to be interested in too. I gave him 38 minutes. He has a usage rate of 18.1 and assist rate 23.1 as well. And at $6,400, playing all those minutes is going to look pretty good. We don't have the usage bump we're seeing, so it's tough, but it is a good matchup against the Chicago Bulls, and it's definitely going to be something that I am interested in. But then Jason Tatum is finally back from COVID. Now, Tatum's hard. He's only going to be a tournament play for sure, just because we don't know what his usage and minutes are going to be like coming back. I mean, he hasn't played in 2 weeks, so I don't know if he's going to get his full amount of minutes, but if he does, he is way underpriced. $8,900 for a normal Jason Tatum is ridiculous. When he's out there normally, he has a usage rate of 31, an assist rate 19.3, and a rebound rate of 11.3. And now I do think his usage is going to slightly take a little bit of a go back a little bit because Kemba Walker's back, but Kemba Walker's out tonight, so that's not going to happen tonight. So Jason Tatum looks like a great play to me. I think $8,900 if he's a great tournament play because I think the upside is super high. Now Jeff Teague is going to be chalk today, and I don't really understand it as much. I don't get it, to be honest. Because Kemba Walker's out and Jeff Teague's $3,700, but like when Kemba Walker was out earlier this year, I mean, like he hasn't played a ton. Jeff Teague wasn't getting a ton of minutes, like 23 minutes is what he's going to get, and he wasn't starting. They were just playing Marcus Smart at point, which I expect him to continue to do. The starting line today is going to be Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart, Jason Tatum, Tristan Thompson, and either Daniel Tice or Grant Williams. One of those two is going to be the last starter. It's not going to be Jeff Teague. And I know Peyton Pritchard's out too, but like even last game without Peyton Pritchard, Jeff Teague still isn't seeing a ton of minutes. So I don't think he's going to get guaranteed minutes here. I don't think he's going to play like 30 minutes. I could be wrong, but a chalk Jeff Teague just seems a little bit too much for me. I don't want to get there in tournaments. Now, if you're playing cash, I think Jeff Teague's kind of a have to because he is going to be so highly owned. But in tournaments, it's definitely warranted to get off of him. I'm not too high on him. I'm probably going to fade him in my tournament lineups tonight. So, yeah, it's something that I wouldn't really go to as much. Next game we're going to talk about is the San Antonio Spurs versus the New Orleans Pelicans. Let me see if we got any news real quick. Joel Embiid ruled out. Okay, there you go. There's some news. Clippers stuff for tomorrow. Okay. So Joel Embiid's out, so let's go talk about that before we go into this next game. So Joel Embiid out, that's going to make Dwight Howard a starter, which I need to pull up his salary now. Hold on a second. We're going to go pull it up for me real quick. I should have this pulled up already. I can't believe I don't. I made a note to do that this time, and of course, I still didn't have it pulled up already. Philadelphia. So Dwight Howard is $4,200. He is going to start at center for them more than likely. He's going to get in the upper 20s of minutes. This is kind of like pretty much when DeMarcus Cousins is starting. It's not the exact same. Cousins is a little bit better, but Dwight Howard is a great play at $4,200 now. He's probably going to be the chalk. He's playing the slate, but I don't want to get off of that at all. He looks great. Then you're going to get Ben Simmons and Tobias Harris getting usage bumps, I believe. Let me go look that up to get you the exact numbers, but I know both of them do get pretty nice usage bumps without Joel Embiid on the floor. So, Joel Embiid, we're getting Tobias Harris is going to have a usage rate of 25.9 when with Joel Embiid off the floor. Ben Simmons only at 19.1. His usage hasn't gone up as much this year, but I do know historically we do see Ben Simmons' usage go up a ton without Embiid on the floor. It maybe hasn't translated as much this year, but that is huge. That's huge news with Joel Embiid out tonight. That's going to be something we really need to pay attention. That's going to be something that's going to be really key to this slate now is Joel Embiid being out. So Dwight Howard becomes probably the best value overall on the slate right now, and I would expect Tobias Harris and Ben Simmons to be pretty good options as well. Let's get back into the games where we are going to talk about DeJounte Murray, Lonnie Walker for the San Antonio Spurs. This game has an implied total of 223.5. It's going to be a pretty high-scoring game. Pace is going to be pretty slow, though, at 102.8, which is not ideal, but it is still a pretty good spot. We have DeJounte Murray, $6,500. I gave him 34 minutes. He has a usage rate of 22.4, an assist rate of 25.5, and a rebound rate of 11.5. That is pretty solid. And then Lonnie Walker's $4,500. I gave him 30 minutes today with a usage rate of 19.8. That's just going to look like a really good value on the slate. So I think Lonnie Walker and DeJounte Murray look pretty good here against the Pelicans. And then on the Pelicans side, Lonzo Ball is going to be the first guy I'm interested in at $5,800. He's just way too cheap because he has had a minutes limit the last few games, but now he is pretty much off that minutes limit, and I gave him 30 minutes today. At $5,800, it's way too cheap. The Spurs are not really a great defensive team like they used to be, like we're used to seeing from the San Antonio Spurs. But which is going to make Lonzo Ball a good play. Usage rate 19.9 and assist rate 19.7 is going to be very good for him. And at $5,800, he looks like a really good value and someone I want to target, which is also going to make Eric Bledsoe a little bit overpriced to me. I just put him on here because I want to talk about him at $5,700. If he does get in the upper minutes, it's going to be good, but I can see those minutes starting to come down a little bit with the with Lonzo Ball being back. So that's something to note. But, I mean, Eric Bledsoe, I think he's okay, but I don't think you really need to get there. Josh Hart's been playing a ton of minutes off the bench, giving 29 today. He's not going to be a high usage rate or assist rate or rebound rate player, but at $4,600, if he's going to play all those minutes off the bench, he's fine. Only for tournaments, though, because if he starts in the series, he's good, but those aren't like necessarily guaranteed minutes, I would say, so I would not go there for cash, but I do think in tournaments he is a great play. And then we got Brandon Ingram and Zion Williamson as well for the Pelicans. Ingram's $8,000. I gave him 37 minutes. He has a usage rate of 28.5, an assist rate of 23.8, and a rebound rate of 9.5. This is going to be a high total game where Brandon Ingram looks pretty solid. Spurs aren't great defensively. He's probably going to go a little bit under the radar, so that looks good. Same thing with Zion Williamson. I think both these guys go a little bit under the radar. Definitely prefer Ingram because of the higher assist rate, but both are really good. Both are guys that I definitely want to get into some lineups tonight. The next game we're going to talk about is the Golden State Warriors versus the Minnesota Timberwolves. This game has an implied total of 227, which would, say, oh, you want to play a lot from this game, but I mean, I think the Warriors side I do, but Minnesota, man, like D'Lo's out tonight, but like they still, like even the game without D'Angelo Russell, they're just minutes are all jumbled up. It's just, I can't deal with this team right now. If you watch my college basketball videos, this is basically Florida State, except Florida State is actually good in college basketball. Timberwolves are terrible. But like they're just spreading out their minutes way too much for me to really want to get to anybody from that team in DFS, especially if they're chalky. I don't think any of them are going to be chalky tonight, but on the other side, I want a lot of Warriors because this team, Minnesota, is horrible defensively. They cannot guard anybody, so I just want to attack them from all angles, and Golden State is going to be a great spot to go to. Steph Curry, $9,200 is way too cheap. Gave him 36 minutes. He has a usage rate of 32.5 and assist rate of 32.1. It's just way too cheap for Steph Curry. And Kelly Oubre has been starting to see his minutes pick up, and he's starting to hit some shots. $5,900. He's going to be a good value. His usage rate 22.4 and a rebound rate of 10. That's going to look pretty solid. That's going to be definitely something I want to look for. And then Draymond Green also at $5,200. I gave him 30 minutes today. He's got a high assist rate 32.5. He's still cheap. Everyone's going to keep playing him, and he'll probably still suck. But if he's chalky, I'm going to get off him. But if he's kind of not chalky, I think that's going to be somewhere to go to. Let me go look. We got some more news here. Let me see if this is important. Magic are going to start Cole Anthony, Evan Fournier, James Ennis, Aaron Gordon, Nikola Vucevic. James Ennis will have a minutes limit. Okay, I'm pretty sure he's had it all. I mean, if he hasn't, it's and Aaron Gordon was probable today. So nothing new there. I mean, not really that interested in that game. I mean, if we saw a surprise start from somewhere, that would be something to look for. But for the most part, it's not. So that game's fine. Now we got the Portland Trailblazers, Oklahoma City Thunder. This game has an implied total of 224.5, and surprisingly, I was surprised. This is actually a game I kind of like for today. I didn't think this was going to be a game I really liked a ton coming into today, but the total's pretty decently high, and there's some injuries that are going to make some stuff happen. Starting out with Robert Covington being out for the Portland Trailblazers, I'd expect Carmelo Anthony probably gets to start. And I mean, that's going to continue with Yusuf Nurkic and McCollum already being out. So I think the starting lineup for Portland's going to be Lillard, Ronnie Hood, Derek Jones, Carmelo Anthony, Cantor. I could be wrong. They could slot in Gary Trent and move Derek Jones to the 4. Wouldn't be that surprised there. But I think Carmelo Anthony, regardless, needs a lot of minutes. And at $4,600, he's going to get in the 30s of minutes. That's way too cheap. I think he's someone that definitely has some interest today. He has a usage rate of 20.2, an assist rate of 7.3, and a rebound rate of 6.5. I do like that. That's something that is just, I mean, if he's out there playing minutes at those usage rates, he's a great play. Derek Jones, I don't really ever like getting him a lot of Derek Jones, but I figured he may have a little bit bigger of a role now in this offense without Robert Covington on the floor. I gave him 34 minutes today. He only has a usage rate of 11.6, so it's not great. He's only a tournament play for me. Never want to play Derek Jones in cash. And then Damian Lillard is always going to be in play for me, especially against Oklahoma City team. It's not good. And now that there's no George Hill either, George Hill, everyone likes to hate on George Hill, but he's a pretty good defensive guard. And they do still have Lou Dort, but I'm not really too worried about that. I think Damian Lillard is probably in a good spot tonight, and no one's going to play him tonight. He's not like chalky or anything, and he just has explosive upside. So when no one's playing Damian Lillard, I'd like to get some of him because he just does have so much upside and does have so much possible tournament winning upside. So Damian Lillard is someone I'm going to be interested in. And on the OKC side, there's no Al Horford and there's no George Hill. We'll start off Hamid Al Diallo. I think is going to be the best play on the slate. I don't know who's going to start at point guard, but here's the thing about Oklahoma City. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and George Hill are both point guards, so they can both play to 1. And they're both fine. And so Shai Gilgeous-Alexander probably plays point guard tonight. Hamid Al Diallo, I think, is going to start. And I gave him 30 minutes today because there's just not a lot of guys on this team that are going to get minutes. Probably Theo Maledon gets some off the bench, but not a lot to really interest me. At 3,900, Hamid Al Diallo becomes a massive value. He's already a high point per minute guy. He has a usage rate 23.4 when he's on the floor and a rebound rate of 12.6. I love that today. He's going to be one of my favorite values on the slate. And him plus Dwight Howard now looks great. Just really even shows me more why we don't need to play Jeff Teague today. But Diallo looks great for cash, looks great for tournaments. Someone I'm going to be very interested in. Darius Bazley is going to get a little bit of a usage bump without Al Horford. He's $5,300. I gave him 32 minutes. He has a usage rate of 19.4. Let's see, no more news, right? Yeah, usage rate of 19.4 and a rebound rate of 12.5. That's going to look pretty solid. That's something that I'm definitely going to be somewhat interested in. Lou Dort's $5,400. I gave him 34 minutes. He has a usage rate of 17.9 and a rebound rate of 7.1. So that's going to be pretty solid. Definitely someone that I'm interested in. He also gets a usage bump without Horford from the floor. He gets to about a 20% usage rate. I know it's Lou Dort, but Blazers aren't good defensively. He's in a good spot. And then Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is actually going to be one of my more interested guys now without George Hill. Him without Horford didn't make that much of a difference, but no Hill, no Horford. He's going to be a really high usage player tonight in a high total game, in a fast-paced game. I think Shai Gilgeous-Alexander succeeds. And then Isaiah Roby's going to be chalky again, and I'm going to, again, get off the Isaiah Roby chalk. I just don't like it because he just doesn't play all the minutes. He'll see 22 to 28. He doesn't have the 30-plus minute upside unless they go in overtime, and he doesn't have a high usage rate out there, 18.9, and a rebound rate of 13.2 isn't great. I just don't like to play guys like that for chalk. So Isaiah Roby's going to be someone I get off of. Last time I got off him was on a 2-game slate, and it killed me, but this is a 10-game slate. I don't think that's going to hurt me that much unless he just goes absolutely nuts. He's popular, so I don't think you need to play him. But yeah, I think that's really all I got to go through by game by game. You guys have any questions for me, let me know. I will answer them. If we don't get any questions, then I'm probably just going to head out. James Ennis has a minute restriction today. It's probably not going to do much. This is probably going to give some more minutes to Dwayne Bacon. Him and Ennis see about the same minutes. So, I'm not going to be interested in either of them. They both probably see around 20 to 25 minutes. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, let me know. opinion on Malik Beasley, I think he's fine. That would be the one guy in the Timberwolves I would like to go to. He is going to get a usage bump without D'Angelo Russell. Here, I can go look that up for you. I know my face just got really white. That's not even the right link. Malik, I mean, but the problem with Malik Beasley is just like I said, Minnesota, like, even he isn't playing, like, upper 30 minutes. Like, he's going to get, like, 31, 32 minutes, unless this game's super close. But he is going to get a usage bump. I think he's okay. That is the one player I would say is okay to go to. He gets a 3% usage bump without D'Angelo Russell on the floor, 27.8 usage rate. So I think that's fine. I can go put that into my projections real quick and tell you guys how that makes me think about him. Where are my projections? Here they are. Let's see here. Malik Beasley, Minnesota Timberwolves, 27.8. I mean, yeah, he projects that well. He projects that just around value. He's fine. I wouldn't call him a huge upside play, but I think the upside is definitely there. He looks solid. I prefer so many other guys at his price range. It just doesn't. I don't see necessarily the value of getting there when you can get guys that are guaranteed going to get the minutes. I mean, like, let's just look at Malik Beasley. Everyone is priced around him. Like, I'd rather play Rozier for 200 more because I know the minutes are there and I know the usage is there. Wiggins probably not. But like, I'd rather just pay down less for like Kendrick Nunn, who I know the minutes are going to be there, the usage is going to be there. If you want to pay up a little bit more for Colin Sexton, Kobe White, like, I'd just rather get to other guys that are in that Malik Beasley price range. I'm sure Malik Beasley is going to get some ownership tonight. I just don't like to play guys that are going to be high owned when they have just not guaranteed minutes like that. Thoughts on Kyle Lowry? If Kyle Lowry plays, I think he's okay. But he is questionable right now unless anything's changed. Pascal Siakam ruled out. Kyle Lowry will play. Okay, well, there you go. There's that. That's interesting. I mean, he's okay. I wouldn't expect him to have a ton of minutes today. I mean, he's going to get like 30 plus minutes. That's going to kill any Stanley Johnson value, though, that's for sure. And Fred VanVleet, I'm not as interested in anymore either. I mean, without Pascal Siakam, let's see what Lowry's usage is without Siakam on the floor. That's an interesting one. I do not have that one memorized. I didn't think Lowry was going to play today. I thought there was a better chance Siakam played than Lowry, to be honest. So that's a shocker to me. We're going to have to go edit that one out in projections. Let's see here. Pascal Siakam off the floor. I mean, Kyle Lowry then has a usage rate of 25.5. It's not that big of a bump. I mean, I think he's okay. I mean, it's in a tough matchup against the Pacers too. Like, the only reason I really liked guys against the Pacers today was because the only reason I really liked guys against the Pacers today is because they were value and players were out. Like, this is not a team I want to target too much. So Kyle Lowry isn't going to be someone that I'm too interested in. I think he's okay though. Chris Boucher. He hasn't been seeing the minutes recently, and I think it just comes with the type of team they're playing. Like, they don't want to play Chris Boucher against like more mobile centers or more mobile bigs. Although I wouldn't say the Pacers are that mobile of a team, but this team literally played yesterday and gave Boucher 21 minutes. And Siakam didn't play. Like, they didn't want to play him a ton against Bam, but when you're getting him against the centers who are kind of just not mobile, I think that's when Boucher becomes into play. So I think he's a risky play. He has 30-minute upside, but I'm not counting on tonight just because, especially, like, usually I don't usually try to put too much into the minutes from like the last games, but they literally just played Indiana yesterday, so I'd expect the rotation to be really similar because it's just the same team, and he didn't see a ton of minutes. But he is definitely, no one's going to play Chris Boucher today at all, so he's going to be really low owned, and if he does end up getting those 30 minutes, he's going to be great value. So, I mean, I think he's interesting, but probably wouldn't call him any sort of top play today. He's definitely a good tournament like upside play though. Like, he has a ton of, like, we know the ceiling on Chris Boucher is super high. Let's see. Any other questions, guys? Because if not, I am going to head out and work on making lineups and edit my projections. If you guys want to sign up for my Patreon, the link should be in the description on this. You're going to get all the projections every day. I already have all my game-by-game notes out. And projections are like get up to date right before lock, so everything is up to date on those. So if you guys want to check that out as well. See if we got any more news. Still just Pascal Siakam. I'm surprised Lowry's playing. I didn't think he'd play. All right, guys, I think I'm going to head out. If you guys want to ask me any more questions, my Twitter is always open. I'll type my Twitter. I'll just put my Twitter link in there real quick. That's my Twitter. If you guys want to ask me questions over there, I'm always answering. My DMs are pretty much always open. I will answer any questions for you guys over there. If you want to play college basketball DraftKings, you should go check out my video on that. That's already posted. 4-game slate there. So check that out. Thank you guys so much for coming and watching. Make sure to leave a like on this video and subscribe to the channel if you have not already. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your night. And let's go make some money tonight.